More on Eskom's loan from the China Development Bank, and we speak now to Numsa's spokesperson, and that's Phakamile Hlubi-Majola. Ms. Majola, thank you very much for your time. Talk to us about your reaction firstly to the loan agreement that's just been signed between Eskom and the Development Bank of China.
Thank you so much for having us on air, Oli. First of all, I think it's important for us to state, given that Eskom's extremely tenuous financial situation, we have noted the loan that's been offered by the China Development Bank. And of course, it is a step in the right direction. It's a positive step. It will help to stabilize the SOE in the short to medium term. However, our position as Numsa is that this loan, we can only fully endorse it once we know for a fact that this investment will actually translate into benefits for local companies. We know from our experience in the past as Chinese companies that when they get involved, they often bring in their own expertise. They often bring in, it often results in a benefit for Chinese businesses. We would like to see this relationship translating into a benefit for South African-owned companies and translate into a benefit which will result in job creation for South African workers and not the import of skills from overseas. Secondly, we think one of the key issues that must also be looked at is that Eskom cannot exist on loans forever. This is a short-term solution. We, as Numsa, together with other unions, have presented a very comprehensive program and proposal to Eskom about what it needs to do to deal with its financial crisis and ensure the long-term sustainability of the state-owned enterprise. That proposal includes dealing with the IPP project and the fact that it's wreaking havoc with Eskom's finances. That proposal includes dealing with the extremely high coal costs that have been increasing year upon year for 10 years or more. That includes dealing with the bloated, oversized senior executive management of Eskom, as well as also dealing with the cost overruns of the build program at Kusile and Medupi. If those issues are dealt with decisively with the help and the support of the government as a shareholder, then we can actually begin to believe that Eskom will be on the right road to long-term sustainability and recovery.
All right, but at the same time, perhaps you would also want to take some responsible steps from your side, in a sense that wouldn't you want to put back the demands for bonuses now that South Africa has just signed up on this loan agreement? That has been your demand in the ongoing wage negotiations, hasn't it been?
Oh, absolutely. The demand for bonuses remains a critical demand. This is not something that we can step back on. We told Eskom from the first day, the first opening round of wage talks, that the demands, if they do not respond to the issue of bonuses, this is a deal breaker. So they are very well aware of this, of what's at stake here.
What does that mean? What is at stake?
What is at stake is the wage agreement. We need a settlement.
Otherwise?
We need a settlement. If we do not get a settlement, then unfortunately, it means that the wage talks will collapse, and it means that we are headed towards a strike, and nobody wants that. So we've been very clear that the issue of bonuses is not negotiable. And even when you analyze Eskom's performance, particularly when you analyze its overall performance before you look at if you analyze its overall performance before you incorporate, for example, deductions such as tax and investments, its overall performance clearly shows that there was an increase in production, and that was something that members and ordinary workers at Eskom contributed significantly to. The CEO and the chairman of the board confirmed that members performed in terms of the basic requirements demanded by Eskom. The decision to deny bonuses has nothing to do with our members and their performance. It has everything to do with mismanagement, corruption, and looting at the top. And so we do not believe that workers must be punished because of the failures of management. We are very clear on what Eskom's cost drivers are. The problem we have is that we've got a shareholder in the form of the government, which is not willing to deal decisively with these issues which have led to the crisis at Eskom. And the way we see it, this is deliberate, because they want to collapse the SOE so that they can justify privatization, which is ultimately their goal.
Where are you hearing that, the issue that Eskom may possibly be privatized?
Eskom intends to privatize. We have been reliably informed that Eskom intends to privatize. In fact, that the Rothschilds are directly involved in that process. They have in fact positioned themselves to drive that process at Eskom so that they can be beneficiaries. They can deny it all they want, but we made these allegations and we presented them directly to the Eskom board and to the management to say that we know that plans are afoot to privatize. And Oli, you've been hearing all of these ANC MPs talking about privatization. Why do you think that this is something that's not on the cards? It's clearly on the cards. They have every intention to privatize. They're going to give it another name, which is why you hear Paul Mashatile talking about breaking it up into compartments. That's just privatization by another term. The fact is that this ANC government intends to privatize Eskom, and we will do everything in our power to stop them.
All right.